Okay, recording this video on Sunday, the 30th of November 2025. Just gone 4:08 a.m. Chicago time. Do hope you are doing well. So it's the weekend, time for another weekend futures market recap. I go through 15 of the largest futures markets and I show you what I'm seeing on my charts. So it's the weekend after Thanksgiving. If you celebrated Thanksgiving, I hope you had a great time with family and friends. Also the weekend after Black Friday, and I don't know about you, seemed like my inbox was just jammed full of Black Friday promotions. Not particularly interesting. I hope no one went too crazy out there. And also we had a shortened week trading, but that's not to say there wasn't drama. There was plenty of drama. We had the silver futures almost shut down because of the CME seemingly stepped in to stop trading or had a glitch in trading. We also had problems with the British pound. I'll show you that in terms of some of the prints there after an outrageous budget from the UK government. So yeah, plenty to talk about. On a personal note, I think I had one of the best surfing days certainly of this year, yesterday down a place called Hendaye. We had 3 meters of swell running up and down the coast here around Biarritz, southwest corner of France. And when it gets super big like that, Hendaye is this beach which is on the Spanish border, actually just down from famous big wave spot called Belhara. When the swell's big, the Hendaye beach holds it well. And out there with probably 25 other guys. It was cold here. People wearing booties and hoods, not me, but it was cold. And it was just one of those memorable days. So anyway, feeling pretty good on this Sunday morning here in France. So enough preamble, let us talk about the markets and some of my failures and some of my successes. So Emini first, we rocketed up and it was lead up into Thanksgiving. This is the seasonal trade, which is strength into a holiday season. We're also going to be leading into the Christmas rally as well. Question is, we're going to sell off a little bit before that happens. But let us revisit this chart on the daily, because this is what I was concerned about in last weekend's video, that we were coming down to cyclical cross on the intermediate time frame, and were we just going to push through the support on the lowest time frame and be caught by that cyclical support when it comes in, when these two medium thickness lines come down and cross. And it looks like the way we're going to play this out is we're having a little bit of a pump and a rally at the moment that'll be caught by resistance on the lowest time frame. So this is going to come in first, and that'll cause a resistance line to be a second cyclical turn after end of trend, and then we'll probably go down and get caught by support on this intermediate time frame. But for the time being, the bars are red. The background on the Beta Prime chart is red. We're in an uptrend. I thought this was going to sell off. I thought we were going to get on the 13,500 tip bar chart exhaustion sell and blue professional bars coming, and we did not. So we got overtaken by the seasonal pattern. So that's a shame, but we put in a flush signal, which is flushing out sellers at this point here at 6,600. And looks like we're going to have a little go around the 7,000, and we'll see how that lines up on the lower time frame charts. 135-minute charts. So here the background's in grey, but we're about to bust into an uptrend, I would say. You know, we need the bars to turn white for the background to turn red here and show us we're in a confirmed uptrend on the 135-minute chart. But here you can see exhaustion sell getting the move going, exhaustion sell ending the move, and the blue professional bars with the blue boxes coming at the lows, and we've rallied from there. So that's what's happening here, and that intermediate time frame becomes the highest time frame here that these lines are going to come together. I think we're going to push down after this little seasonal rally is done, and then those lines to come together, and maybe that will be the setup for then have a Christmas rally when that strength comes in on that time frame potentially. 45-minute chart. Here we go. Got some nice signals. So at the high, remember we were testing into those lows. Blue professional bars, big pro bars coming on the 45-minute chart here, and then here with this pattern here, exhaustion sell, bullish divergence. That's what led to the rally. A little bit late in terms of the signal. But we haven't had a lot of fussing around. We didn't go to test the lows down here. We just powered on through. Because of the low average trade size at the moment, amateurs trading on Friday after Thanksgiving, we've got rainbow patterns up at the highs there, so that's not unusual. And at some point we'll go find resistance on this highest time frame here. We've got to make pullback to end of trend on the lowest time frame, most like on the 45-minute chart. And let's see, we also need blue professional bars or something to stop this move on the way up to then have that push down. 15-minute chart, just more granularity in that sell-off that we had. Here we put in the solid yellow vertical lines which mark the beginning and the ends of the week, and you can see with the week prior we had the exhaustion sell bullish divergence big pro bars come in here, and there's a nice signal 66.50, and that's what we've had so far. But although we've had Rambo patterns into those highs, I expect a little bit of weakness, but we need blue professional bars at the highs for this to trail up and to break into a downtrend on the 15-minute chart there. So we're still strong on the 15-minute chart. The 13,500 dip bar chart, let's just revisit this. So what I was hoping for was a test with blue professional bars, big pro bars, exhaustion sell come in to really mark the low here, because all we were doing was we were ramping off these Rambo patterns. I've been talking about this over the last several weeks. That's not enough for me for a proper bottom to be put in, so I was hoping for that, but we didn't really get it. On the lead up to the weekend, we had blue professional bars on the dip come in here, and then they took it on the breakout, bang, and we got going here. This wasn't enough to end that move and that signal there on 13,500, but now we've had more big pro bars. This one was almost at an important inflection point. So you can see we've got a squeeze pattern happening just before those blue professional bars. The squeeze pattern happens when we have a whole bunch of support and resistance lines come together. Big things happen at triples, either big breaks or big bounces. So we've got all the resistance lines come together at that point there, and we got a big break. We break into an uptrend, bang, and now we're going to make pullback to end of trend on the way up here. And we've got big pro bars, exhaustion buy, bearish divergence coming at those highs. So we've got a setup for short trade on that 13,500. When all of that breaks, that'll be interesting there. So in summary, what does that mean? We've had a nice little seasonal rally, Thanksgiving rally. At some point this week, that is going to play out into a nice short signal. Let's see where that goes. Does that mean that there'll be resistance on that daily time frame that'll push us down to find support on the intermediate time frame here? So that's what I'm thinking is going to happen on the E-mini this week. But it has been a nice rally, and we've also rallied on a whole bunch of different instruments that we've been talking about in the videos over the last couple of weeks. So first one is gold. So here's the beginning of this week's activity, and over the last 2 weeks we had two signals. First one here, we talked about legging in with the professionals. Leg in here, that wasn't enough to get us going, so they legged in again with the blue boxes, blue bars at the lows. We have signals to go long. Little test here, stair step trade. We're on that weakness. The blue professional bar comes in. There's no professionals taking profits at this point here. Yep, we got excited with an exhaustion buy signal, but no blue professional bars taking profits. They get in on the retrace here, and then we get going. False move here, and then bang, we break out just at the 41.50 level there, bang, and now big pro bars coming in on gold. So that's interesting. That's been a nice little rally in gold that we saw setting up over the last 2 weeks. We also said that silver would set up, but a little bit later than gold, and this week the story has been silver. So last week we had an early signal here, and then we legged in again at 4,900 for another signal, and bang, we got going. And this is where the CME potentially stepped in because it was going a little bit crazy. So we'll see with the news Monday, Tuesday. I don't know, has anybody got in trouble because silver's up at 57? Big pro bars coming in here. This thing just kept on creeping higher and higher, running stops and so on. So that's been a nice signal in silver. Who knows where these things are going, big picture. But watch out. That's big pro bars coming in there above 55 on silver. Bitcoin, also we've been talking about this with last weekend's video because we had big pro bars coming out the lows, exhaustion sell, bullish divergence, bang. Sunday into Monday, there we go. We got our signal and we rallied from 80, 82 up to almost 92 on Bitcoin. So that's nice. Exhaustion sell signals at the moment, not big pro bars to mirror this, but backgrounds in red. So Bitcoin, that's been a nice little rally. Let's see if that continues this week. Also Ethereum we thought was going to signal a little bit later. The big pro bars came in midweek, but we hadn't seen exhaustion sell until the end of the week. There we got exhaustion sell, bullish divergence, we get a little bit of a rally, and then there we go, we get our signal. Big pro bars come in here, that's almost buying the breakout at 3,000 there. So let's see if Ethereum continues to rally this week as well. So those calls, gold, silver, Bitcoin, Ethereum, I think have been pretty good over the last couple of weeks, and that makes me feel better So hopefully those make up for the not very helpful calls on the E-mini last week. 10 years also grinding higher. So last couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, we've had a couple of signals down here. Hasn't been a huge amount of activity here. Some big pro bars coming in there, but you can see all the exhaustion sell, bullish divergence signals, flush signals, exhaustion sell again until we finally break out into this uptrend. Note that the big pro bars are coming in here. They're on the retrace. They weren't taking profits here. Possibly here, but it's the retrace here that's interesting to me. So let's see if we get back up through 13.2s there on 10 years, continue a rally. I think finally people are waking up to the fact that we're going to see lower interest rates. Japanese yen, no signals really. We had a signal a couple of weeks short, but wasn't a whole bunch of blue professional bars. One up here at the highs there, you can see the backgrounds in blue. But coming into these lows, we didn't have them here. We just had blue professional bars on the retrace. I think Japanese yen still in a downtrend. The last signal was grey in the background there. We've got squeeze patterns happening at the moment, so we're going to squeeze out of this on the way down and go test Japanese yen. And suppose that talks to a continued rally in risk on. So, and then Forex has been nice. Played Aussie dollar and currently long euro at the moment for me this week. So we had big pro bars coming a couple of weeks ago, short signals on the euro. But this week at 115 we bottomed. Some more big pro activity, just one bar coming in here, test and test, a little bit of a freak out trade there. Test with amateur down bars, and we've started to rally. We're up at 16.2 almost. No blue professional bars taking profits. Exhaustion buy getting us going, coming out of this congestion zone. Bang. So euro looking interesting. And British pound. British pound, we got a really wonky number here. I've refreshed my data on there. I can't believe that's real data that happened. I mean, it was thin trading during the Thanksgiving period, and we did have the UK budget came out, which was interesting to say the least. So did it cause that amount of volatility? I don't know. I haven't checked other chart providers, but that's pretty wild here. So initially with the UK budget, when it came out, we had this rally because seemingly, although it was a spend type of budget, it was good for the City of London. That's the story we were told. Anyway, I think into those highs we got big pro bars coming in. So at 32.5, I think they were getting out, frankly. So exhaustion buy, bearish divergence. Let's see, we've broken below the trailing stop. We've not got any signals yet. This is going to cause problems for the signal because we need to break this to get confirmed downtrend, and that's a long way away at 31. So I might check that out, see if there are other data providers that show that that's a real number. But just bear in mind that that's going to screw up some of the signals from the better indicators because it's such an odd print. Aussie dollar was long into this move. We had a nice signal here. Didn't come with a classic exhaustion sell down at the bottom, but we had all these big pro bars come in here. Exhaustion buy getting us going. A little bit of a test. Bang. We race away. Some blue professional bars getting out here, but we're Rambo patterns at the moment. So in an uptrend in all of those, which is interesting. Crude. Now, crude not doing a lot at the moment. Big pro bars here a couple of weeks ago. We haven't had anything down here at the lows, and it's pretty junky. So I don't know on crude. That's difficult to read. Natural gas bottomed with exhaustion sell, but no blue professional bars. One here, not a heck of a lot. We've rallied from there, but the professional bars are coming in here at 485s. So let's see if that rally continues, and then we roll over on natural gas. And last chart to look at is copper. So we've not talked about copper for a while. I actually got a comment from Morhen on the YouTube channel just saying, was copper going to rally? And the point that the question was asked, we had blue professional bars here and they weren't on the dip. And I said, no, because I've not seen blue professional bars at the lows. And then we had this extraordinary activity down to $5. Blue professional bars come in, bang. We set off, and then we put in our exhaustion sell and bullish divergence, so everything comes together there. So the professional bars, the exhaustion pattern, and we set off into a rally, and the blue professional bars are coming on the dip, not taking profits on the highs. So so copper is now breaking out. Maybe it's more tradable, less tariff news event driven going forward, hopefully. So we'll start talking about the copper chart again. Ag's not going to go through Ag's. The video's long enough as it is, but let's see this week how it works out. We've had a nice little rally. Is it going to continue for a couple of days, and then we roll over and then set up at some point over the next couple of weeks for another Christmas rally? So there we go. Hope your trading is going well. Looking forward to this week's trade.